You are watching PR English Shorthand Dictation's YouTube channel.
This is English shorthand dictation number 357 and the dictation speed is 120 words per minute. Ready? Start. The appellant has been convicted for the offences punishable under sections 333, 353 and 451 of the Indian Penal Code 1860. The Sessions Court convicted the appellant for all three offences. For the offences punishable under sections 451 and 353 of the Indian Penal Code, the appellant was sentenced to undergo rigorous imprisonment for 1 year each, and for the offence punishable under section 333 of Indian Penal Code, he was sentenced to undergo rigorous imprisonment for 2 years with a fine of rupees 2000. By the impugned judgment, the High Court, while upholding the conviction, brought down the substantive sentence to rigorous imprisonment for 6 months for each of the three offences. On 9th May 2023, this court issued a notice confined only to the sentencing part. The learned counsel appearing for the appellant firstly submitted that considering the facts of the case, the appellant deserves to be granted the benefit of probation under Section 360 of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 and the Probation of the Offenders Act 1958. Secondly, he submitted that the incident complained occurred on 1st December 1992 and during the period of the last 30 and a half years during the pendency of the trial and appeal, the appellant was all throughout on bail. The learned counsel submitted that the appellant is a woman whose present age is 62 years. He submitted that considering the long passage of time of 30 years and more from the date of the offense and other relevant factors, even if the benefit of probation cannot be given to the appellant, she deserves to be let off only on payment of a fine. The learned additional advocate general appearing for the respondent submitted that the appellant has misbehaved with PW1, who is a public servant, and obstructed her and PW6 from discharging their official duties, and therefore, in fact, stringent punishment was called for. Moreover, the High Court has already shown leniency by reducing the sentence. It is necessary for us to note the nature of the offense. The appellant claims to be a social worker belonging to a political party. A written complaint was made by PW1 on 1st December 1992 to the police. She was working as a deputy director in the Directorate of Women and Child Development at Bhopal. At that time, PW6 was posted as the commissioner in the directorate. On 1st December 1992, PW6 was conducting an official meeting in his chamber in the presence of PW1 and other officers. The case of the prosecution is that when the meeting was in progress, suddenly the appellant barged into the chamber of PW6. She threw a file at PW6 and started shouting in abusive language. When PW1 tried to stop her, the appellant pushed her. As a result, the PW1 sustained a fracture in the little right finger. The appellant claimed that she was the sister of a member of parliament and threatened to remove PW6 from his post. The Sessions Court and the High Court believed the testimonies of the eyewitnesses and especially of PW1 and PW6. Considering the nature of the offense, we are of the considered view that the benefit of probation can be extended to the appellant. As noted in our order dated 9th May 2023, no case was made out to interfere with the order of conviction and the notice was confined to sentence. Therefore, the question is about the quantum of sentence. Looking at the findings recorded by the Sessions Court and the High Court, there are certain relevant factors for deciding the question of showing leniency to the appellant. For espousing the cause of the laborers, the appellant visited the office of the Directorate. Evidence of PW1 and PW2 indicated that the appellant had sent a slip of her name to PW6, which was kept on the table of PW6 as she wanted to meet him. After waiting for a considerable time, as she was not allowed to meet PW6, she forced her entry to his cabin and complained that she was made to wait. PW1 admitted that the appellant was not annoyed with her. She stated that the appellant did not indulge in any scuffle with her. When she tried to stop the appellant, she was pushed by the appellant, and that is how she received injury to her little right finger. The incident is more than 30 years old. During the last 30 and a half years, when the trial and appeal were pending, the appellant was all throughout on bail. Even in this appeal, an exemption has been granted to her from the requirement of surrendering. During this long period of more than 30 long years, there was no allegation of any objectionable activity by her. The appellant is a female whose present age is 62 years. At the same time, we cannot ignore that the appellant indulged in the objectionable act of entering the chamber of PW6, who was discharging his official duty as a public servant. At that time, PW6 was holding a meeting with the officials, including PW1. The appellant abused PW6 by using very bad language. At that time, PW1 tried to stop the appellant, but the appellant pushed PW1. As a result, PW1 suffered a fracture in her little right finger. That is how both courts have held the appellant guilty of the offences punishable under sections 333, 353, and 451 of the IPC. The offense punishable under section 333 of voluntarily causing grievous hurt to deter a public servant from discharging his duty attracts punishment by imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years with a fine. The offense punishable under section 353 of using criminal force to deter a public servant from discharging his duty attracts punishment of imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 2 years or with a fine or with both. Lastly, the offense punishable under section 451 of committing house trespass in order to commit any offense punishable with imprisonment attracts imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 2 years and a fine. Considering the seriousness of the offense punishable under section 333 of the IPC, and since the punishment prescribed is both of imprisonment of either description and a fine, obviously the appellant cannot be let off only on a fine. However, considering the circumstances set out in paragraph 5 above, we are of the view that the appellant deserves to be shown leniency when it comes to the substantive sentence. The distinct factors set out in paragraph number 5 taken individually do not constitute a ground by itself to show leniency. For example, only because an accused is on bail for a long time, it is no ground by itself to show leniency.